All right, to kick off the series between YFP and Shopify Rebellion Black, YFP to take their own map pick 13-8. Roy, looking back at this, I mean, this is a map, like, this is a series overall. We said it was going to be decently close, but YFP, strong start to be starting out.
Yeah, YFP's split debut was insane. I truly felt like they were in control that entire time. I don't get wowed often watching Valorant at this point. I'm a little jaded old man, but like, I think the level of Valorant that we saw coming out from YFP, the way they were moving around the map, the rotations were just a work of art.
Yeah, I agree. It's great rotations that we saw both on the attack and on defense as well. So again, the tempo was directed all by YFP from beginning to the end, and Shopify Rebellion just always had to play catch up every single time on every single round. If it wasn't again to one of these moments where I think it was like a 2vx from both Brock and Pancakes at round 17 or something like that, where they had to play the post plant in the mid round and win that, it wouldn't have been that close of a game, because I think that was a breaking point too that broke the economy around here of YFP that allowed Shopify Rebellion to get a much closer result in the end. But once that money came back, you saw the ults also came up here from YFP, and again they had full control of the driver's seat again.
This is a YFP too. We had talked about how this team has been together for a little bit now in comparison to some of the teams coming together. And this is a YFP that looked especially coordinated once we got into the match and stuff too. Besides like little things here and there, it was, I don't know, I felt like I could see that they've been building up something. They had good plays. They're playing off each other well. Like, this is a YFP to get excited about.
Yeah, seeing the vision, right? I think they were trying to break the mold in the first 2 weeks when they were trying to bring out this Harbor inner composition of Abyss and Pearl. And I see the value behind that, because there's still great ways to like dissect the map when you're trying to get these plants in. But I think they're starting to see more of that value by really reading into this meta, Roy, of playing this double initiator on top of that with a Yoru instead of a Raze to gain that extra space around that util.
Yeah, I think the Yoru just fits so nicely into this meta. Like, you need agents on the team that can really push the boundaries and the limits of the utility and find their gaps and sort of control the flow of things. And I think Yoru is like the perfect character for that. Him and Chamber, of course. But leading into the double controller as well is a massive talking point, right? Because the diminished value of Sentinels, they're sort of kind of just how powerful Breach and Taeho pair into them has just been very, very oppressive to the Sentinel role. So seeing teams lean off that and lean more into double initiator, double controller makes complete sense here for both teams. But of course, YFP having the Yoru showing, and as well as the way they were utilizing Yoru on the map, Benz and Sierra was beautiful. It was insane. There's so many macro points. Every time it's like, wow, that movement is crazy. Constantly conditioning the early rounds, constantly moving the Yoru around. It was really, really awkward. Even us, we have the mini map and X-ray, and even for Vans and I, we were like, whoa, what is going on? This is crazy. And
we're just seeing like art. We're just watching art, staring at the mini map and looking at how they were like using the TPs and then finally taking a main control and then rotating back to middle to take that control as well.
Crazy.
It was really, really nice. And one thing to point out too, you saw on the scoreboard here, we didn't even see the assists coming out from Stellar. I think he's at 14 assists at the end of that map. So yes, we're praising a lot of kills here that Penny was able to get around this Yoru, but again, it goes down that you can't have the best value out of the Yoru without the tail in the breach to create that space for you. And Stellar, of course, as the IGL, you were ingrained in that action, and we mentioned it, a great opportunity to place Penny in this position where he's going to win fights because of the great calling and the great utility out from the IGL.
I mean, we were talking about art, and going back to this one pistol round that we had pulled up, and what do you consider this art, or where is this on the meter?
Oh, dude, I was already up there when I watched the pistol. I was like, dude, if this continues this way, I'm gonna be going crazy. And the crazy part about it too is that they did it like 5 rounds later with a Cosmic Divine. But if you're looking at it, that's the beauty of having this Yoru. You're now having 3 players making some noise towards this B site. There was already a read from SRB that think that YFP are going to try to take some mid control because of this double initiator and Yoru. But look at what that does. It pulls the full rotate. They get the plant towards the A site. But the thing you have to pay attention to now is that SRB are like, well, they faked it. There's maximum 3 players on that side on A. So let's pivot really quickly and try to fight our player's advantage back towards the A site. What does that do? It allows now for the breach to get his fault line back up. It allows for Penny to be the last line of defense. Also, Physics is never going to get pressured towards the front of that B site. So if they realize here for SRB that they've taken over that A site and they're like, oh crap, these guys are playing post fight, we have to fight back towards A main. There's going to be 4 players from A main right there on pistol round to fight against you. So you have great stall util on the post plant. You have numbers advantage on the fights for players trying to push against you, and you see the result towards the end. Just a beautiful, clean fight. It was YFP that came back with their own death ball on the post plant, and then you have here a 3-on-1 to solidify that. So that in itself is great IGLing, great understanding of the macro, great understanding of the strength of your composition, and also the help from Mac, who used to be coaching for MXS before. So a little bit of a silver lining there for Mac.
Yeah, that was beautifully said, Vans. I like that. I completely agree. I think this level and depth of strategy is really only possible when you have such experienced and cracked players on your team. And I think YFP is in such a unique position to have all of those players on one roster to be able to execute something that looks like what we just watched on Split, and which makes me very excited for the next map as well.
I mean, you're talking about this being something that's only, you know, cracked team, these cracked players. So one cracked player we have to talk about. We've talked a lot about this Euro gameplay and a lot of ways that this was a difference maker in the match. So we do have to talk about Penny a little bit before we get into that next series. Because when we look at the way that YFP was able to control this map, where they're able to be making these plays, Roy, a lot of it started with Penny and this Yoru.
Yeah, I mean, not only are his stats impressive, but first blood percentage is 38, but he was 8 and 2 on openers, guys. That's almost half his kills were opening kills. That value could not be understated. I think it's very important. And again, Penny is, he might not have the most inflated stats in DCL, but he's definitely, every one of his kills matters so much. He's a very cerebral duelist, and he's always capitalizing off these opportunities like we mentioned before. And now he's leaned into Yoru, the perfect agent to be on to completely punish teams and dismantle these combos that everyone's relying on.
And 4 of those kills out of the 8 were all on the defensive line, on defensive side rather. Remember one of those rounds where he gets the assist from the fault line towards main, he flashes on top and takes down BCJ and is able to TP away. So to be able to get that early first blood for your defensive side on a composition that is going to be so util heavy on the retakes, it's going to be very difficult there on the attack to hold those post plant positions. So again, game plan pristine coming up from YFP.
And that's a YFP that is looking pristine now. Heading out, we have to talk about the second map of the series and start gearing up for Haven. And Brian, you were just saying that you're really excited for this map. Where is the excitement coming from?
Excitement comes from the fact that we don't really know what to expect from YFP, so I'm left with my imagination, right? It's like, what compositions are they leaning into? What meta are they going to try to enforce on this map? Are they going to go back to Sova? Are they going to lean into the Tejo breach with Yoru again? Because I feel like that fits their playstyle and their team dynamic so well. I would love to see them lean more into the Yoru breach Tejo combo.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind to even see a mirror comp with Neon on top of that. I feel when you're trying to create that chaos within the sites, I think Penny could fulfill that role of that Neon quite well. I gotta say, I think for me, Penny back in like the version 1 days or whatnot, I would give a lot of praise into it, like his jet, because it was like the instant dash that you could hit on. But when it came down to like starting to charge your jet or find those right moments, there's moments where he can get caught or he gets utilized or wasted where he can't get too much value towards the end. But to be able to keep a Neon, to be able to keep a high gear, to be able to jump away and fast rotate, or even a Euro in itself, I think that fits back into that Penny playstyle that I used to love going back in 2021. So I'd love to see one of these 2 agents coming out here for YFP.
All right, well, time to head into our agent select. So we'll be able to get confirmation of what YFP is cooking up pretty soon. Shopify Rebellion Black, we saw them on this map 2 weeks ago. We got 1.5 million rounds of OT. Their favorite. They love those OTs. Able to clear up, but they're going towards that Neon Theo as well. So going into it, Roy, we're keeping that sort of style, but Penny is going to stick with the Yoru instead of swapping over.
Yes, I love it. I love the fact that they're leaning into the Yoru completely now. This is absolutely perfect. I'm very excited to see it, but I do also want to give a shout out to SR Black, right? Because yes, although they did have a very close matchup against Core in their last showing, I still really felt like they had some really awesome ideas, and they really did feel like they were cooking up a completely new strat book and sort of reinventing the wheel on how this map could be played. And I think they've added onto that as well. So this should be a pretty exciting matchup.
And this is also a game to put a lot of importance onto your Sentinels for finally, as we're praising Sentinel roles into this new meta, where you would think sometimes a Cypher against a Teo, it's kaboom, right? It's not worth it. But with this type of composition, the active, aggressive cameras they're going to be able to pull out from the Sentinels to allow for the team to get some early value on information will allow for you in the end to try to fight back for map control.
All right, well, it's the debut of YFP on Haven with this Deho. Time to see if Shopify Rebellion Black can go ahead and take their map and pick and take us to a map 3, or if YFP can clear it up in 2. Lemons Nerds, back over to you two.
It's us. We're back, and it's Haven, and it's SRB's pick after a overtime win against Core last week. This was the comp they did it with. But if they're struggling against Core, I'm worried about this matchup because YFP, I don't know if it's a coach diff, but man, they look better this week.
They really do, right? For me though, Lemon, I mean, I'm just excited to see it because with so much Yoru, for me, I'm seeing Neon for the first time in God knows how long. And I have been a fan of Neon, and I think that, I don't know, I just like Neon's playstyle. That's me personal opinions, but I will say Yoru is kind of like what has, I mean, I wouldn't say the meta, but that's kind of what has been the prevailing practice, I guess. I don't want to say meta, but it has really been the meta. Thief tries to steal one away, but unfortunately just gets a little bit of health decay and has to fall back.
Yeah, a lot of damage put into YFP, and they're going to try and chase down, use the clone to wrap around the box. SRB just holding close right at the front and being pressed back. Brock is suppressed, and YFP, they smoked off the left side, secured backside, probably teleporting there with Penny. And then Jay gets to go and actually challenge a short. Spaz will go toe-to-toe with them, so YFP, it's not going to be as easy as they thought. Post-plant in place with only a flash from Stellar. They may not even need it, considering SRB are flooding in, and it's too late to use util now, and Spaz has got his third, but it's YFP's teamwork that rings true.
Teamwork makes the dream work, and the benefit of having Neon, right, is that you can be a little bit dynamic, but with how Penny has played Yoru, we already see the dynamic nature of it, right? Rankers do so well on Haven when they play their admittedly more wacky composition, but Yoru is in that mix. So it creates this sort of fun dynamic of what position is Yoru playing? A surprise box of sorts, an egg, a little surprise, you end up cracking and boom. What are you gonna get? What toy do you have?
Kinderex have banned in the US, which is such an L, but YFP, I've taken every pistol round so far, and the anti-eco going just as well with Penny, and the desk talk at length of just how Penny was able to condition them into this chaos, and now stepping into the smoke. SRB are getting run over, and YFP will get a sight and a plant, but a fault line to try and prevent this. Here's BCJ stepping up, trying to take his time with the shot and paint too. Bit of a desync, actually. I don't even know if BCJ really committed there with paint off the fault line, but Neon did what the Neon could.
BCJ now just
Caught in 4K leaving.
On cams. We got one on cams. Someone's being a little sus. Caught him. Flawless victory for YFP, asserting their dominance early here, and I would even say they didn't even take enough damage to take a player down to begin with. And looking at the buy-up as well, they want to snowball this momentum. Jakey being the player to pick up the rifle, right? The mantle in this moment has been so dynamic. And that's the thing, right? When you're walking up as a team, you don't necessarily play the Jet or the Raze. You're not pushing in super fast. You need to rely on players like Jakey to step up in those moments when you push in together.
YFP have taken also every anti-eco, and for SRB to not even trade on that outlaw player, that's rough. Penny, though, is swift with it. Kind of Spaz. And then Spaz is the only one with kills, by the way, on SRB, and all right.
We kills. Are we counting scoreboard, Sally? What is it?
Yeah, so scoreboard, I don't know what they said, but SRB are having issues in the killing department, especially when you're literally having a 2-on-1 in the previous round to protect the orb grabber. That's even a thing, but YFP now have A site.
I like to scour the scoreboard as well. But at the end of the day, you're right. At least so far, it's been really difficult for SRB to have the coordination to find some picks in those moments.
Spike planted.
That's going to go down regardless of the salvos here, and they need to regroup for the retake. With Penny down, they have the leg up into it, but the post plant's been set up. Utility is there.
You see the trip and got some information as now you got the aftershock to clear out hell. And YFP just very slowly trying to get through the smoke, and Pain is just gonna give a big old hug to YFP. And the flooding is beautiful from SRB, using the neon wall to isolate and section half the site. And that's all they needed to do, is have enough people alive on the retake to just go in together.
Yeah, I will also kind of give Paint their stars and stripes because, you know, I feel like that is something that Yoru could not do, right? That in that moment on the retake, being able to crosshair break like that with the slide and having the dynamic retake with the rest of your team in the neon wall is something that Yoru does not have in their toolkit. But the question becomes now, how many of those moments are we going to be seeing out of Paint? Is it going to be play for retake with the neon and be dynamic, or are we going to be finding a fix? Because at some point, YFP will be able to, you know, take down neon first if Paint overextends. Those are big what ifs, though. Currently in this round, mid push towards B, Jakey TPing and planting fast on the B site.
Planted.
Did he get pinged by the camera too? He did, and he manages to teleport out. Pancakes couldn't follow through in time, and he's just gonna stick to the not even get halfway. Penny picks him up through the smoke. Clearly the ping difference hasn't impacted YFP, who can now play through B main. And this plant was all possible because of Jake, and now he's teleporting back in to finish what he started.
I think that's the thing about YFP. They've become so much more dynamic in terms of how fast they change things up. Jakey has been popping off, has an early ultimate. He uses it in such a creative way. It's a huge risk, though. At some points, you gamble and you win.
Right, the TP, ping them?
Yeah, I was about to say, the TP in there with the Cypher setup was truly insane, how he was able to get out, get back in, find the double, and now SRB forced down to an eco. I wouldn't be surprised if they go for a round 6 timeout because of that, especially early on. They have been known to do that. So close on Pain. What?
These first bloods, man. Pain at least is trying to keep the vibes up, going for these early barrier down plays, peeking early, trying to do a Penny on the other side. Hasn't been able to take full advantage of the speed and what the kid of Neon can provide, because YFP are playing so far back. They are watching for that slide.
Slide on through. Push on through. Izika's going to be able to push on through with the drone, so they have info, and this is where you kind of play on the entry with Penny. And again, it was a question of like when, at some point, if Paint is to go down early, it doesn't matter that Neon has these util for retake. They're gone, not on the server, at least for the round.
Oh. Yeah, YFP were a bit split on whether they wanted to watch flank or play from main or press up back site. So they lose one, but it's Penny. Penny was going to be up to Penny things. SRB trying to jump peek, and YFP starts spamming through the smoke. Brock surprises them, but that's all he can really do is deny one weapon. And there's a silver lining there, but YFP are just getting richer by the second.
As long as you keep 3 alive, the snowball, in my mind, still continues. And if anything, Penny goes down, able to buy back up. They have a dimensional drift. We do see overdrive, a broken buy. It's going to be popped out of Pain to save some of that economy. No, they buy up. I thought they were going to be going for the save, playing off of it with their team, but can't take too much out of the eco. Nice little retake coming forth, but they don't have the weaponry to bite back against YFP, and now they do. What? The TP set up? so much info gained along with the stun.
Oh, we had to tune away from what Penny was about to experience. Just uncloaking 1v2 in the garage, manages to get away with it. And Paint's like, wait, I need to check every Yoru clone after what I saw in VCT, and hesitated and drops the op in front of garage. Oh, YFP, it simply is a brain diff, at least in that early round. At least SRB equalized the numbers, but in the post-plant, YFP are watching every entryway. There's the Spaz swing, and BCJ goes on the off angle. YFP are ready for anything. Rolling Thunder into garage. It's YFP can't follow through, but man, they scared the heck out of SRB.
Dirk are really living in the minds of these players.
One enemy remaining.
And from the same position, nonetheless, Jakey to find and wrap things up. 5 found for YFP.
Need a timeout, man. Why?
Yeah,
There's something up with
100%.
SRB. Like, they're not playing together. You're letting Jake, like, I'm just thinking about that one round where Jake, like, teleporting into B and had time to double kill. Like,
and then
there just needs to be a quicker snap. Like, things like that. Like, looking at a Yoru clone. I mean, Dirk's in our nightmares, but still.
like, in my mind here, it's just they probably don't take it this round because they could have taken it last round. They're on an eco this time. If they can pick up the eco and maybe swing the momentum in their favor, sure. But next round is truly when they're gonna have to, because if YFP gets the 6th, they have 6 on the half. SRB need to come back on the half. They're on attack. YFP, if they can just dominate on attack, and they have such a dynamic amount of, utility for retake, it's going to become even harder on the defensive side. So getting proactive about the score line, especially early on for SRB.
This is still a comfortable comp for YFP, because the last time we even saw them on this map was against SAD Esports in Stage 3. And playing pretty much the same thing, except like Physic on the Sova and Penny on the Neon. And I was maybe thinking we could see a Neon matchup. Even the desk thought that too, but clearly Penny has been reinventing the wheel when it comes to Yoru. And now this is just a whole painted up sight of an Armageddon, all types of salvos. So SRB 404 aren't going to be anywhere near that, but this was just a fake. YFP have pivoted to A, and meeting them halfway is SRB, and the overdrive Paint catches YFP at the heel and carves his way
30 seconds left.
through the YFP members. This is big for SRB.
Huge hero play though. And now A site's locked down.
One enemy remaining. Thrifty.
Can't find the 1v3 clutch. No. A Thrifty being picked up here. It's crazy how, I mean, man, next time we need to like talk with the desk, get another American on here, because I'm just like, it's like the 8th round is when they're gonna time out. They still do, so my call is right. But I was like, why YFP gonna get the 6th round here, and then they don't, because you see such a dynamic play out of Paint, and was truly off of Paint, catching myself, YFP off guard, tripping the players, getting in their faces. That saved SRB in this moment, and that's the benefit, I will say, to Neon. Similar to Jet in the Blade Storm, you have the ability to solo carry within those moments, just swing it back into your favor. Especially, I guess, in the meta, you don't really be seeing a lot of Neons running around in ranked, so maybe some of these players aren't scrimming in that environment. So just to give a little bit benefit of the doubt, but regardless, just beautiful stuff out of Paint as he's blasting through these players.
Yeah, the execution off of Paint was great, but even just the setup, like macro-wise, like the fact that SRB were there off of the pivot from YFP from C to A after using Armageddon and all this crazy stuff to really sell C, SRB still were in time before the plant at A to allow this overdrive to really kick YFP where it hurts. We'll see what this post-timeout holds for SRB, having their own from the shadows from Spaz. Really,
I'm looking towards the op on Paint. That's gonna be interesting for me, right? You have an op on Paint, set up towards C. The retake potential is a little bit harder because now Neon is really good on the retake, but with an op, it's gonna be harder. But the benefit you get is you can lock down these long sight lines with confidence.
And this is just to watch over C, so Paint won't be going crazy yet, and just based on the trip, YFP are going to secure their flank and make a march towards A with a camp set up from SRB. They can almost play out of sight, and they want to try to hold Heaven for when Paint gets back and hold BCJ for the retake. And BCJ living is very important for the retake potential of SRB.
Keeps the utility alive and refreshed. Huge stun though. They don't see this.
Oh, Jake is cooking, and YFP have breached into the site. And that's why I said maybe SRB would want to play in the site and just play for retake, because this site is so small and you can get overwhelmed by util so fast. So here's the break-in from SRB, and Brock went for the initial pick, backed away, conditioned YFP to spam through the smoke. Now how do SRB get in without BCJ? This is cooked.
The people at home that know, this is a kerfuffle. Definitely, because A-site retake is so difficult. Notoriously one of the harder sites to retake, especially on Haven out of the three. You have more choices here. So it's difficult without maybe like an ultimate of some kind, like we saw previously out of Paint. So I expect to see that kind of change up in the future for SRB. They need to save this op. That's the negative, right? Paint can't retake with an op in hand without having some setup. It's difficult for you as a movement duelist without some setup from the rest of your team to take it out. Now, it's not impossible. We saw, I mean, especially if the previous match showed us anything. But at the end of the day, we immediately see the change. They're holding on the A site with that op. Jakey.
Jake does it again, man. Just the B play, kind of solo won that round for YFP to now getting away with stuff like this. SRB may just have to play more for retakes, because the inclusion of a Tejo is so much zoning.
Zoned in, zone out.
Can't zone out. You gotta lock in. SRB, you're down way too many rounds.
I'm zoning out, but I'm not really, because YFP is just showing us a masterclass right now. Good change of pace from YFP to not be like super aggro into this. The op on Paint holding through. Paint's gonna be spotted early.
Oh, don't do it, Penny.
Oh no. The stun flash to drive them out. A site's empty. And the retake in terms of ultimates, they don't, just, I mean, BCJ has the Rolling Thunder, right? That's about it, right?
Oh, the salvo? Yeah, it kills the diffuser. Stellar couldn't get away. Completely zoned. Doesn't prevent the plant though, but you'll still take the pick, because that means no breach util to flash up SRB coming in, and a bit of a hesitation. Paint gets in everyone's way, but Brock still gets the pick. Now you got Rolling Thunder retake, YFP stay in cover, and sliding in, Paint, and with the smoke on top. Kind of worked against YFP in that moment, but Thief holds the corner, holds a short diffuse halfway. YFP don't know if that's being held. Physic with the salvo.
One enemy
Continues to zone. Now it's a 1v1. But with... Okay, my bad, BCJ. I'll shut up and let you work. Ooh, with the op. Oh, 0.01.
I have to stand up. Oh my god.
Nah.
What? No, Lemon, I was expecting the same thing. I think the viewers at home, everyone can agree. No one expected that in the moment. No one expected the op shot to land. But then immediately after, you don't expect a 0.01 scenario here. And the layers where it's there together. Under my breath, I was mumbling this. We saw there was an Armageddon available. There was an Armageddon there. Thief stealing these rounds away for YFP. And that's why they're the abandoned in the night.
Robbed.
Just actually stolen. Beautiful replay offs. I mean,
crazy.
Oh my god.
7-2. And this forces like a broken bye out of SRB. Tough one.
I mean, it's gonna break their mental. The spirits are gone for SRB as well.
Like, how did I get shot in the back as the defense? From like Toru at Aor. Like,
We've come so far. We've gone so far.
And now it's just an all-out scrap in this garage area. Jake is also having such an incredible performance for YFP. This core, you got to keep your eyes on YFP, especially if they pull off this win against SRB. That is going to be a statement to make in our season. And when it rains, it pours for SRB. They only have Brock left, and now nothing left.
You know for a fact Nima is smiling, the owner of YFP. Just this is insane, an amazing performance. Now don't get me wrong, it is on attack. I do want to give benefit of the doubt to Shopify Rebellion. I always like to do that, but at the same time, you have such a momentum built up for YFP. And you can't deny that they're feeling on fire. That momentum, that confidence builds into it as the players' mentals come through. It feels like every 3 rounds, Shopify have a moment of brilliance, but until then, can't find much here. We're gonna see a buy around. They've already used the timeout for SRB.
Yeah, this Yoru just feels like Yoru versus Neon feels like Brains versus Braun, like how Penny is playing a chess match. It's checkers from the Neon, but SRB at least will take people 6 feet under with them. 3 versus 3, that's spiked down. And there's Jake here, but now he has to make his way back to the spike or hope that Thief grabs it. And Jake did enough damage to make this winnable for Thief, especially with Paint having an up.
Looking in the wrong direction also. The timing
Too
is
long.
here.
Now they have to check the flank. And Paint, looks away. Oh, you just saw the ponytails. Thief, go get him. Oh, shot from Paint.
What is this? This is a game this is a game of hard reads. This is such a game of hard reads because that was a soul read. You know for a fact Paint was like, in my gut, there's something brewing. I need to look behind me. Yeah, boom. Just the fact that that happened was insane because you expect one to be found there, picked up yet again. And YFP, like, don't get me wrong, this has got to be I would say euphoric for SRB because they feel so good about picking up a round in a mildly silly way, but still 8-4 is what they're hoping for to get that half set up for them, and on attack should be a lot more dynamic with that Neon.
Oh, just YFP reading that Paint was there, salvos to force him in an awkward spot, and Paint just barely getting out due to his concuss. So YFP are still gonna check to see if there's anyone on the site. They've absolutely slaughtered SRB if they actually were still remaining on A. Now it's a 5-man retake for SRB.
Rolling Thunder.
Rolling Thunder and also the Armageddon getting into position. So you have so many options. And YFP also has some people out of the site. Keep in mind, Stellar has his own Rolling Thunder. So it starts with the Armageddon from the defense, and it's fully pushed into by SRB, including with the op. And Stellar never pulled the trigger on the Rolling Thunder until now, until it's a 2 versus 3. But there's no vision from YFP to do anything about these CC members. They only care about the spike. And as soon as Stellar checks, he's picked off by the op. And Physic through a sword denies the defuse. And now it's too late for SRB to do anything. Just an absolute Jimmy Neutron brain blast from YFP.
I just love how I can't tell what's going on 9 times out of 10 because these players are so good at switching things up. YFP, like I said, I know under my breath, right? Stellar had the Rolling Thunder, denied it, waited for the right moment, but then immediately you have a player who's further ahead of it for Shopify Rebellion. It's Pancakes. He's there. You expect something to happen. The defuse starts immediately. Thief snatches it away from the hands of Shopify Rebellion. Perfect timing to even talk about how the fact that Jakey was even pushed out of it. Team kill on Paint as well, which, I mean, is just insane. At the very end of it all, it's the IGL, Physics, the big brain. I mean, that's why you call him Physics, because you could just do quantum mechanics, figuring out how to play around the utility that they laid down themselves.
Oh, wait. Watch the trap play from Garage, but the trigger first from SRB off the Paranoia from Spaz. That is the advantage now SRB can work with. There is someone up close and personal. There's the crutch. Oh, no, Spaz, you can't choke that. And the whole back presented to you, and maybe a teammate that could have traded, but should have won that. Either way, now numbers are equalized over I think everyone's just playing so fast, so aggressive, acting before thinking, and Physic with 2. Maybe has just given the round to YFP. As Brock in a 1v2, so possible. Doesn't get away. The spike plant wanted to draw it out. Paranoia from Jake, and that's all she wrote. YFP, every pistol now.
the Broctagon was not strong enough, it seems, and unfortunately in this roller coaster, I mean, I was just gonna say, every single roller coaster ride like ends at some point. And it seems like the end for YFP is that they just get the pistols so consistently. And the consistent part of it is the fact that it was such a good play out of SRB to play in mid, trap the players who were on the defensive side, holding there. You would think, okay, SRB has this plan. They're using, part of the new meta. We were talking about how Fade might have been, not the most impactful, and now we have Brock, who's provided so much more impact on the Teo.
Oh, was a paranoia from Spaz that opened things up for SRB, but then a breach on the other side from Stellar made that difficult. SRB is gonna walk through their own cage and not check corners. SRB just getting in their own heads and maybe not playing like they have one sometimes. That YFP 10-3. First and second blood, it was a save, and at least SRB picked the right site to capitalize on the close range weaponry that they had, but now it's a pivot to C, but up close. Paint ready for the swing off the flash from Brock. Tried to play anti-flash. YFP back away, and SRB are the ones who took damage. Now Paint can't be aggressive at 3 HP, but gets away with murder somehow. It's just so chaotic, and Stellar with 3. Physic with the last one. And YFP get themselves that much closer from having a very, very dominant Haven.
I just gotta say it's Van Serious, not Van Silly, because they have he's been able to get all of the reads. It's 11-3. There was a forced buy, and the reason I'm giving a lot of credit to YFP to close this out is because it was a buy from SRB. They forced up into this. Their economy is going to be not the greatest in this round. Now, they didn't buy up full Vandals or something along those lines. They did buy eco weapons, but now they're going to be on another broken buy up against a broken buy, and YFP has been able to thrive even with the broken buys. We see Vandals, Outlaws. There's light shields galore for the Shopify Rebellion black side, and I know there's one co-streamer definitely ripping their hair out.
SRB just got to lock in and losing Pain on entry. No follow-up. SRB were worried about someone pushing up a short, and they did trade from that moment. And SRB do a good job of spamming through the smoke and bringing the advantage back in their favor. Can't really push up to grab those weapons.
Saw some stuff going in SRB's favor previously. A lot of momentum that needs to be capitalized here.
Okay.
Okay.
Let him cook. And he tried to do so much after the other duelist got taken out, and YFP are trying to run away with what they have left, and Stellar keeps them in check. The counter breach util repositioned. There's a teleport forward from Spaz, and it would have been a wraparound. It would have been Jover for Stellar regardless. And it's SRB with a very much needed round, but to string together 7 more rounds, that's feeling like an impossible task.
Impossible, but not improbable. It's an eco for YFP. Physics gonna have the Tejo ultimate Armageddon if they want it, but I doubt it's gonna be used for anything other than a momentum change if they start picking up guns. Realistically though, YFP 2 away. They can let it slip away from them, but I start believing around the 10th mark. If we get to 10-11, then it's like, okay, they have snowballed this.
Much needed round for SRB. They've already picked off Penny. Thief is 10 HP after an exchange over at C, I believe. Now YFP, the race is on to try and meet SRB into the site to be proactive against the plants. And Paint, bodyguard in the smoke. Spaz is watching it and does sacrifice himself for the planter. And the plant never went off because of it, giving a chance for YFP to say something about it, but being on the other side of this box is tough. And Jake will not give up. He gets 2 with the Sheriff. Not bad. Not bad damage for a round of Sheriffs from YFP to only let 2 Vandals slip by.
We're starting to build up. The momentum is there. The 2 have been found, but this is going to be the true test. Penny has an op in hand. We have Armageddon. Jakey, who has, in my opinion, found such insane value out of from the shadows, because it's just beautiful. On the flip side, we have BCJ with an ultimate of their own, very good on the retake, which we have seen from to prevent the retake, which we've seen from SRB that they have been doing better on, preventing YFP from getting into those places and retaking.
This little exchange, conversation happening at A main, A long, has been so back and forth between Paint and Penny. And I can appreciate that SRB don't want to play scared, because Penny was like conditioning them that I could teleport behind you and shoot you in the back. And SRB are just not changing their game plan, because Penny won't go for that again and again. He's not Okeanos, right? But YFP are taking damage. Penny with the op is trying to survive through this rolling thunder. And the chase is on as SRB combine the Armageddon. Or sorry, it's the defense's Armageddon to stop SRB from flooding on in. SRB take a second step and they get on in, and YFP have a chance to stabilize. They are smoked off, and that's tough. Physic at least has an opening off the salvos.
I just want to mention how the drone caught off players' backside and got them info so SRB could get in here. Still, though, they lose player counts.
Must-win round for SRB. You just have to play flawless for where the score is. And it's a 2 versus 3 retake or SRB. But right next to the smoke, SRB react as best as they can, but at a distance. YFP, all they do is laugh and then defuse. But this time, more than enough time. 12-5. This feels like a matter of time with how YFP have been playing. The desk has been singing their praises. Just how well the last map went for them, and this one even better.
And just the way that we see YFP adapt, small change. Hey, well, first of all, amazing salvo kill there on the replay, just to comment on that. But the way that they're like, all right, we can just play retake towards C. A site's been our crux. We've lost 2 times there so far. Let's just allow our team, who's really dynamic, good, Penny's able to pop off in so many different ways. Let's just play retake here and allow Penny to get even more early info. Is Penny gonna pop? No way. He's scaring them here because he's TP now. He's long gone. It's just fear factor live in 4K.
Got the fault line out of BCJ2. Just one less thing for YFP to worry about. One less tool for SRB to use to clear through. And based on how they're established in mid, they have options of using this breach util to get into garage. I feel like B has been pretty cooked, so maybe not that.
Right there.
We'll see how they converge into C. They will just try to take their time with it. Same game plan for SRB of just concentrating on the left side, but this time with more numbers. And that, in this case, it's traded out, which is what SRB wanted. And with that B control, they clear all the way through the backseat.
A lot of utility dumped here.
Take at a distance, loses that to Pain. Okay, SRB have strung together a round. And now Physic and Thief is gonna keep these weapons.
Hold them together. They want that op, especially because they only need 1 more round. And the economy's a little lackluster. Beautiful mustache from our Colombian homie. But at the end of the day, right? They need 1 more round, realistically, here. And it's 13, whatever. It doesn't matter what score line's happening there. But I break every time I see it. But at the end of the day, that makes sense. SRB, though, on the other side, doing a really good job of defaulting into space, pushing in, taking the early fights, winning them, and then being able to get the plant and win out. How you do on Haven.
And just how they reacted to the dimensional drift. Because Penny has got really no useful info. The fact that they're still in spawn, and maybe they don't have a fault line. Penny has usually been able to be a lot more impactful with those dimensional drifts, whether decloaking and just they immediately have site control and they're going crazy, to now YFP's calling a timeout to just, okay, let's not let this slip away. What's the plan with the rolling thunder? What's the plan with the op?
Yeah, I was gonna say, because now you have an op and then a gun. And the only person who can buy up is Stellar, potentially, to support the op. So you have the double rifle into the op, potentially, but realistically, again, right, it's just one good round that they need, a unicorn, and they're done. So the mental also needs to be reset here. It's like, hey, guys, we have to just lock in for one round. Even if this isn't the round, the momentum is there for us. Retakes were pretty solid. A-hold was pretty solid as well. C, we did a really good job. Caught some funny timings. Essentially even clearing up some comms between them, but all together now, it compounds into YFP having some successes. SRB on the flip side, though, needing to be even more attentive because this timeout's going to apply pressure on SRB. They have to be flawless. It's no more buffer room of one round that they previously had when we were on round 16.
And as much as the scoreline says a certain story, this half has been 3-3. So this isn't an absolute sweep from YFP when it comes to their defense. So since they have timeouts, you might as well use them or lose them. Brock's going to get information at C, and YFP are just going to play out of sight, literally, and out of mind. Maybe they just play off the Rolling Thunder.
The C retake has been pretty clean for YFP. Also, again, the same super nerdy Tejo drone that I love. Clears most of backside, gets them this plant, gets them so much security.
Portal closed.
How successful can this Rolling Thunder be when you got two players with ghosts? Truly believing in this round. With the two weapons that they kept, with the Op and the Vandal, it's all up to this Flood, and nothing is stopping them. Off the breach util from Stellar, 2 flashes left. And it's up to Paint to try and do more with the overdrive, and he only gets 2. It's a 1v3 for Jake that he can't pull off. And SRB, just like a cat, 9 more lives to go.
I think I will also say I doubt that the Rolling Thunder was the main plan there. They wanted to flood in, potentially get some picks, and then if the opportunity presents itself, pop it, but not off the rip just because of like what you mentioned, no security. But more than that, SRB, the momentum is there. They're 1 away from some crucial ultimates, 2 for BCJ and 1 for Brock. Armageddon and Rolling Thunder will be amazing to prevent any of the defuse, especially on the attack side.
Sometimes this kerfuffle, as you've called it, at A-Long has resulted in a first pick, and this time it's for Paint. He's got backup, he's got support, and first blood, but Jake goes unchecked in a short. And Paincake's just too slow to react. Gets away back into sight, and now it's Paint chasing him down. Good clears from SRB, and another round potentially in their favor as Thief and Penny have to consider whether to save these weapons and where the economy is. It's another round gifted to SRB.
Okay, I'm gonna start believing in about 2. And also, it's funny because if I don't believe, then there's potential for the curses. At the end of the day, right? It's just some of these rounds seem to be slipping away from them. SRB is doing a really good job of entering after taking really good first contact and tripping up the way YFP is playing. YFP does have 1 more timeout in their back pocket, as well as some of those crucial ultimates if they want to use it. But the momentum is there. I mean, Brock is at 7,000 creds, 6,950, but 7K creds all in all.
How about to hit him with the Oprah? You get knocked, you get knocked. But also keeping those weapons, Penny and Thief just staying calm, cool, and collected. That just neural theft, first blood, YFP can just be sure to check Paint and be aware of how aggressive and how confident he's becoming at A-Long. Also, SRB, this is 3 rounds in a row. I bet vibes are so back because it did not feel so back earlier on in this game, but
oh, yeah,
that's really got to help the mental.
You gotta have,
I'll cut through.
you gotta purchase up some vibes, right? Multiple different ways.
Vibe merchants, where are
the
you?
vibe, yeah. Zelsis is called. But at this point, again, the timeout has helped reset the momentum, and even the YFP timeout, which was meant to reset the momentum, probably helped SRB, if anything, because once they won that, it sort of is like a double-edged sword. It's like we pick up after your time out and like even more so hurt the momentum of YFP.
SRB, knowing threats have come through a short Jake peak last round, causing some issues there. So I don't mind the usage of the Armageddon just to buy some sense of security. Now the cage, the push-up, the lurk activated from SRB, right side of map, but pushed up on the other side. Thief could get some really important information on the left side where the spike is going. BCJ drops. Thief may just sacrifice himself for the neural theft. And SRB will get a site for free.
And now they know exactly where the spike is going. The retake protocols kick in 4 players up into it. They're late, so the flood should be good. By they, I mean SRB is a little late. Look at the backside.
And SRB just being proactive. Now getting around. And it's a neural theft from the other side as YFP just needed the 1 round. And even with equal numbers, SRB are just built differently.
Wow.
And it's been 4 rounds in a row. The comeback could be real, chat.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. At this point, if you're gonna say it, I'm gonna go in on it as well.
9-3 curse.
I can't be the first one to say it because if you know, American broadcast moment, U.S. broadcast moment, you know what I mean? But I'm starting to see it, right? Like the problem on the defense, we do see early picks out of Thief, gets the first, tries to get the second, a little indecisive on it. It's caught off guard, and we see the proactivity out of SRB. Both teams just really solid on the attacking side. If this goes to OT, it's going to be a matter of whose defense was more solid.
There's no action at A long because SRB have found so much success at C, and they're going to try and replicate it. Paint is traded. But that was a fake, and YFP have figured it out. Waiting for SRB at A is Physic. Remember, YFP only need 1 round, but they just can't seem to get trades. And it's SRB established, spike planted. Is Heaven smoke though? The paranoia comes out from Jake, and Stellar's up top doing what he can to add to this equation. And SRB have more weapons, more health, and teamwork that shoves YFP back into the locker.
I mean, YFP should take another timeout here. They have 2. They can use both in 2 different halves. It has been 5 in a row. They can't pick up a defensive round here, and Eco picked up as well. Penny does have their ultimate to try and regain some space alongside Jakey, but the retakes have been looking a little disjointed. The confidence of their swings has been just a lot rougher. And in this mastermind cocktail of utility, it seems that the attacking side is always one to prevail.
It might just be a vibe diff too. Like Shopify are playing a lot faster, as we'll make sure everybody's okay in our lobby. Shopify are just playing more united. They're playing faster. They're pivoting sites. They're playing the mind games against YFP instead of succumbing to that. SRB just needed to get back on their feet. They needed to walk before they could start running. And now we got a game on our hands.
And there we go. The timeout to come through because the reset needs to happen. I even want to like find out where who had the tech pause, because if it's YFP and they're getting like even more like frustrated on the tech issues as well as that, it's truly like a way that gets compounded when you talk to players. It's like, yeah, that truly does carry into a round. It's like malfunctions in any sport. Here it happens as well. Crucial pieces though. Physic 1 away from an ultimate of theirs. We have 2 ults on top of that, a timeout to reset mentals. We're gonna have 18 seconds.
YFP, this is like the past repeating itself. Because like I said, the last time these 2 teams met, they went to map 3 and YFP won it out. And based on, you know, we had this 9-3 half, they were up, YFP were up 12-3 or like 12-5, like a pretty significant gap. And that is slowly falling away. And based on how bad this buy is from YFP, this is going to get even closer.
Slow push back to C. The retakes on C haven't been good. They were good around 1 time, and then it fell apart. The side take from Teo is just so strong.
And it's good for YFP to just play for retakes. with the sheriffs, though. As soon as the smoke dissipates, they can maybe get some lucky connections on some headshots, but all of SRB are just lined up like a firing squad. And off the paranoia thrown from Spaz, SRB going confidently, and YFP fall like flies with no answer, no kills, just Stellar with one flash in hand.
Flash in a dream? Or a flash in the pan that gets squashed.
Not even weapons. Oh, they know where he is.
They know where he is. That's so unfortunate. Oh my gosh. They bring it back, SRB. Very consistent. Honestly, I have a feeling that, yeah, it's the vibes, right? It's 100% the vibes here. And I also kind of am hoping and anticipating that they stack a little bit more. Right now, they have 3 players heading towards the B and C site of the map, getting a bit more proactive on the initial peaks, because especially if you're taking a time out to rebuild some confidence, take some of those confidence swings. I mean, at the end of the day, it's either going into overtime or you win it out here. So you have to be confident. You have to put it down on the line.
I'm out of
It's
here.
the one round to rule them all. Are we going to another overtime in our day, or will YFP stop playing with their food? And Jake stoic at the back of C, such an important first pick onto paint. And usually, you know, SRB have been able to send util, flashes, cages, something to make C a lot easier, but this is a flop. SRB tripping up at the finish line, getting into B, and the spike is down. BCJ 10 HP down to 0.
Oh my God.
YFP fake comeback, close out the series 2-0 against the fearsome Shopify Rebellion Black.
I mean, 11-13 is around scoreline. Again, the differential doesn't matter here. But at the end of the day, YFP closing it out in the funniest of ways. They peaked aggro out of Haven. They got the confidence back, the swing in their step, the momentum in their boots, whatever you want to call it. Call them Hermes with how fast they were going, but that's what mattered, right? And then just a little bit of a misplay out of Spaz being, you know, they had the vibes, so they wanted to play off of that. Let's get aggro, let's pull a Jakey, let's be in the back line, but unfortunately, there isn't only one Jakey. I can't do the call like some other artists, but I tried. Regardless, the YFP is going to win 2-0, taking down SRB, the second time SRB has fallen to a team, and Vans is right. I guess, you know, almighty Vans. I got, listen.
Oh,
I'll say it because
hear the end of it. Oh no.
Listen, I was wrong. I thought SRB was going to win, but that was also partially as like a, man, this is probably going to go to like 50-50.
Yeah, how can you doubt this? This is the Shopify Rebellion squad that dominated last season. Shopify Rebellion, there's no more Moist, but man, do they still got hands. They still got hands, but YFP got better hands. That's just what it is at the end of the day, and a very, very respectable comeback out of SRB at the end. It is YFP now that'll be 2-1 in our standings, and to see SRB fall, I think it's just a difficulty of schedule. I have no doubt SRB will climb back and obviously still make playoffs. We'll see how obvious that is. But we're going to hear from the desk, and don't go anywhere. We're going to have a special interview with someone from YFP. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you after this.
We started extremely late. I kid you not, we have 3 weeks of practice. I said this in the first week. We walked into the first week having 1 week of practice, right? But the amount of work that we've put in compared to everyone else is absurd. It's like an hour and a half to nearly 2 hours of server, 4 blocks, and review afterwards, and with homework afterwards, right? The team is like gelling together pretty consistently. Obviously every team has some days where we're peaking higher than others. I think we recognize what we need to fix instantly, and I think that's what makes this team so special. I always put 100% into whatever team that chooses to play with me. Obviously, Blinn was a more unknown team. It was like a collegiate esports club. while M80 is like, you know, the principal of tier 2, you know, they have made essentially grand finals twice now, you know, so they obviously have that level of prestige to them. And so that obviously has to affect my demeanor as well when it comes to just overall like how I present myself, right? Because right now I'm not just establishing and representing like, you know, like a group of people that enjoy the game. I'm representing like a high profile organization that has had tons of gravity in the tier 2 scene, right? So I obviously have to hold myself up to a higher standard, and I'm trying to do that. But I'm also blessed and grateful that I was chosen to be able to, you know, fill in the shoes. It's great to work with Don. Don always, you know, keeps us in check. You know, Drew is mainly on the strategic side, and Don is mostly on the performance and mental side. Obviously, we are younger players, so obviously sometimes we can get a bit volatile. You know, not volatile. That might be a bad way to say it, but like, you know, sometimes we do have too much fun in practice, and you know, Don reels us back in, keeps us in line, makes us remember our practice goals, and you know, it's great to have someone that not keeps you in check, but holds you to a professional level 24/7. I've set high expectations for myself this year. I want this year to potentially be a breakout year for me, but at the same time, I can't set too high, because if I set too high and if I don't you know, reach those goals, I'll come down like this extremely fast. So it's just a week.
Looked like for a moment we might have been here for a little bit, but in the end, YFP able to be closing out that map of Haven and this series 2-0. So, Vans, this is your official. Congratulations on being right.
I don't want to take
feel?
any credit for it. I don't want to sound like I'm big brain or anything like that either, because it still breaks my heart that, you know, I have to predict against Shopify, because again, you know, you come from an organization that was favored to be top 4 to ascend going into partnership, and then you come into this year and it's like, oh man, there's not really a strong powerhouse team in all of Challengers, at least for me in North America, the way that I see it. So a lot of these games are always going to be 50-50, and it comes down to who's able to really, the traditional, any given Sunday, whoever shoots better is going to win. And it's kind of like that, what we saw, to be honest, going into that one, because when we got into the second half, Roy, it got really scrappy, and you definitely start to see Shopify Rebellion bring this comeback on their attack side.
Definitely. I mean, you could just tell that SRB's attack is really, really good. Just the first half did not really leave them with much room to actually express themselves in a way that was healthy for them. But of course, we do have to talk about the fact that YFP brought out compositions on 2 new maps they have not displayed before and played them perfectly. And genuinely, I mean this as confidently as possible, but I think the style suits them completely. And I think they might have stumbled on the perfect meta to really push this team to the limits.
Yeah, I agree. I think at the same time, it makes it difficult for, again, just Shopify Rebellion from the first map to the second map to just having to think of their toes every single time on how to adapt on this flood util, or how good YFP were in terms of taking space. And sometimes it goes into the first map of the aggression of what Penny was able to do with the rifling, and then suddenly you have Penny with an operator. Sometimes they go quick, sometimes they want to just fight you on certain controls. So you really had to be on point in terms of your IGLing on the defensive side, which it didn't look like it was going to be something that was going to be the cleanest here coming out from SRB, because you saw like some TKs happening, losing to unfortunate like diffuse moments where teammates are not watching after each other.
Yep.
That could have been in itself, that was 2 rounds on the A side retake that YFP could have had if it wasn't down to like those down to the wire, one from the spike, one from a spray kill from the clutch that came through from YFP at that round number 12. So overall, I think this potentially could have gone to a third map if it wasn't for those small mishaps coming out here from SRB.
I'm even thinking about, you're talking about a moment down to the wire, 0.01.
Exactly. Yeah, the
Like,
BCJ no scope on top of that was sick.
Crazy stuff. So for Shopify Rebellion Black, of course, things that maybe need to be fixed a little bit more down the line so they can have the results, because Roy, like when you see the moments, you see how close it was. Like that's like, yeah, that one probably hurts for them. Like that was right there.
Yeah, you know what 0.01 is? That's Ascent, and that's also Penny, because Penny went absolutely crazy. He was
Just that
Dude, it's kind of true though. Penny
You
was
like
freaking
that?
popping off.
He
Yeah,
went
yeah.
9-3 on openers on the second map. He's 17-5 on openers throughout both of those maps. That is
That's so
insane.
funny.
That's almost half of his overall kills were openers. Only, what, 5 out of his 25 deaths were on the opener as well. Like, the ratios are crazy. The level that they're playing at, their style is beautiful to watch, and I'm excited to hear from him as well.
You're like, just get to the interviewer. I want to hear from him. So we have none other than Penny on the line. So let's head over to our post-match interview. Get a couple of words from him. Congratulations on this win. We've gotten to see this YFP roster working for a bit now. We've got to see in stage 3. You guys are back here now, taking the win. How are you feeling with everyone, and how the teams managed to like go through challengers so far?
Well, I think the team overall, we're feeling pretty good right now. We've made a few changes since, honestly, the start of the season. Like, we've kind of switched up a lot of stuff. Like, we didn't actually have that much practice time, even though we've been together a while, because we had like a lull in the offseason, stuff like that, moved a new player in, have had all these offseason events. But we changed colors, we changed a lot of comps, changed a lot of play styles. We've had Mac helping us recently, and I think that's been a big uplift since like the last game against Amity. So yeah, it's really good to, I don't know, kind of get another win on the board.
That's good to hear, especially that having Mac there has been helping, really being able to change things up, because the style too, the coordination that we got to see today definitely seemed really, really good. We were close to having a third map in that series. Shopify Rebellion Black going on a little bit of a run before you're able to close out. You got the timeout a round later, able to close out. What was the biggest difference maker in being able to close out this game to make sure you can have a bit of an earlier night?
I think honestly they started playing like upping their game a lot at the last couple of rounds, and it took us a little while to kind of adapt to that. And also we were kind of messing up ourselves a few rounds, like the fundamentals. There's a few times where we should have done something together and we didn't. So, but yeah, like you said, we got the win in the end and no map 3, so that's good for us.
All right. Last thing I want to ask, because I definitely want to make sure y'all can get a good night after the 2 longer games. But I know for yourself, you got the opportunity to play again the state tier 1 stage, and you tweeted out after like, I'm going to be back. Now, of course, we're looking at this Challengers team. We're looking at Ascension, and I want to know how you feel like this roster and how you're playing right now stacks up to, well, where you're looking for this team to be, where you're looking for you to be.
I mean, honestly, playing with these guys has really made me like fall in love with the game again. Like, we're like having a lot of fun together. These guys are also we're great teammates, but like they're also my close friends. So it's honestly just been like a revelation for me. I think honestly, I mean, you saw it, like a glimpse of it. It was only 1 game on the VCT stage, but like me, Stellar, and Jake played really well, and I think I'm still, I mean, not still, but like right now I'm hitting like a peak right now where I'm definitely one of the best players in Americas. And I think it's only a matter of time before we get back. It's like Stellar, Jake, Thief, all my teammates, honestly, like we're gonna like get there. So yeah, I mean, we're just having fun together and improving. And like I said, Mac as well. It's been like a lot of help, a good energy. It's just like just what we need. So.
Well, I'm definitely glad we got that glimpse, and I'm definitely looking forward to a lot more this season, and know that you guys will make it back there. So good luck so far. Any congrats again on the win. Have a good rest of your night. Thanks for chatting.
I appreciate it. You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. As for us, back over to the desk for the end of the day. Good looks, Roy. The change is coming out. I mean, better for it, because YFP, they had the one off week versus M80, but the looks they had tonight, good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think he said it best. They're making changes. We're clearly seeing those evolutions happening. It's the same story from the TTR from last year, just repeating itself in a different way. They're finding their groove. They're finding their ideal play style. They're trying to find their place in the meta. And so far, I'm really enjoying what they're doing. And I think they should just keep going in this direction, because, I mean, they looked amazing today.
Yeah, 100%. Good looks, 100%. But now we can talk about the bracket and talk about how things have been squaring up. Of course, YFP able to take this win 2-0. As for our other games, Nightblood, a 2-1 victory over Winthrop University, and Vans, Blue Otter, 2-0 against Burger Boys.
Yeah, and I'm starting to look at what's on the right side here for the round 3. And there's going to be some banger games going on there for that M80 versus TSM and Rankers versus Qbert Academy to see who's going to get closer and closer to qualify on the other side as well. So This is actually pretty sick. I mean, we already saw the TSM matchup. I mean, it's all a blur for me right now. But to look towards
God,
the
you're
end.
so old.
Yeah, dude, it is past my bedtime. I gotta move some stuff. My kid's crying upstairs. I don't know what to do anymore in my life. But to be honest, it's great to see here how we're starting to really figure out like that gap of like the top contenders going into NA this time around, where you know some teams still needs to prove themselves at that high point. But the clock is ticking, if I can put it that way, because you don't want to end up at that lower side eliminated.
Yeah, we're at the do or die stage of things. If things aren't quite clicking as of yet, right? Like that time is quickly expiring. We're about to enter that land where if this team ain't clicking and it ain't working, you're about to be done so.
Yeah, I mean, just a reminder to everyone at home, right? That you get 4 losses, you are eliminated. So we really are at the finish line right now. So we're entering the point of no return. A lot of these teams, this is their last opportunity to display themselves and to perform on the stage. And you know, it's just ruthless from here on out. So they really all need to step up.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is going to be it for Valorant for us today. But of course, those unfinished games that you got to see on that schedule, that's going to be our next couple of days. So great stuff ahead of us there. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Roy, Vance for being awesome, our casters in production as well. We'll see you all tomorrow for some great Valorant. Until then, enjoy your ranked games. We'll see you tomorrow.
Sorry.
Smoke and Matey have completely left the building. And now, with an orbital strike, B-Dog is going to deny a chance at a defuse for now, but there's still more delays to be done. And that's the Molly right on the spike. The defuse is halfway, and TSM know they have to fight through this. And we did the damage is initially done to 7, but we did that 32. The spike's going to be touched. We did. Thanks for the timing, and finds 7 on his
Going to a save, but also just they're going to put their backs against the wall here, hopefully.
The Sheriff headshot. Gross. And with that, I mean, TSM have won every pistol round, so always getting to start off on a good foot. And with the SMGs, as everyone from MAD pops out of the smoke, you can't check every corner. And TSM are just...
all the utility towards the A site. It's just going to be about the gunplay. Unsure of the positioning, though, and they're split up here. This is very doable.
Not
strengths and metas that are forming around the current patch.
GQ with 3? Are you serious? The playmaker. Physics just watching all these members come in and off the flash. That is trigger discipline from the defense. And YFP, though, they're only up by 1. Paint was able to find some good equalizers, but he got spammed through the sign, and he's just not here anymore. YFP again, but the SRB have been able to send util flashes, cages, something to make C a lot easier, but this is a flop. SRB tripping up at the finish line, getting into B, and the spike is down. BCJ 10 HP down to 0. YFP fake comeback, close out the series 2-0 against the fearsome Shopify Rebellion Black. Smoke and Matey